Hi, I have the privilege and pleasure to have with me in this new episode of Leadership Story Unscripted, Dr. Anjali Ahuja. Dr. Ahuja has been instrumental in inspiring me in my career in two of my previous organizations, the erstwhile IBM Daksh, now known as Concentrix, and also erstwhile Countrywide Financial Corporation, which was acquired by Bank of America in a non-banking subsidiary called BA Continuum International. So let us start with the Leadership Story Unscripted podcast and hear from the untold story of the leadership coach and also a TEDx speaker and so many more. Let's dive right into it. So welcome, Dr. Ahuja, and thank you so much for being part of this podcast with me today.
Hi, Manmeet. First of all, thank you so much for having me over to your show. It's an absolute privilege for me to be here this morning.
The pleasure is all mine, ma'am. And let's start with it. We have 5 segments. The first segment is, of course, on career and leadership journey. And we have this wonderful book that you've written. And at the end of the episode, as you have promised me, I would love to have your autograph on this book because you are one of the leaders who's inspired me in my journey. And not just that, I'm sure there are countless of individuals who need some guidance and some guiding light when they are in the mid-career and they sort of take those uncharted territories where they have a lot of darkness ahead and they don't know where to go. So we'll talk more about that later. But let's start with the first segment, which is going to be career and leadership journey. So the first question I have for you is, can you take us back to the defining moments that shaped your leadership journey?
Manmeet, you're taking me back into a very nostalgic journey of mine. There have been many defining moments, but I can count on one moment early on in my career, which has truly defined and shaped my entire career of 38 years. And that defining moment was a breakthrough very early on in my career that being a people's person always gets you your way. And it's not being a people's person is not only meant for HR people, but it's got to be across the organization. And I learned very early that empathy and concern for people is the key to driving people. And this I realized, and I further reinforced that belief of mine when on one of the occasions we had a very challenging task to do. And I went on to people and gave them a very transparent and a very honest answer to their queries, that it was a deadline which was difficult to achieve, but I can count on them. And being honest and being transparent with the team really helped, and they went all charged out and they delivered. And so I think I further learned that not only being a people's person, but inspiring them through transparency is the key. And these are the 2 breakthroughs of mine which have helped me all through my career.
Wonderful. No wonder you've inspired me so much in my career journey as well. So the second question that I have for you, from an HR standpoint, and being having been an HR director earlier, and then transitioning to a career and a holistic life coach, and also an author and a TEDx speaker, what has inspired you to traverse through this journey and transition?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and whenever anybody asks me this question, this brings a huge smile on my face, because having worked with people in different industries and different size of teams. In fact, there was one point in time when I was managing a headcount size of about 20,000 people. I learned that learning and development of people was a key concern which most organizations were not addressing.
Yeah.
And in the with the digital world evolving so much, and now we are heading into the AI world. So what happened was that learning was confined in most organizations to e-learning portals.
Absolutely.
Where people would just go and learn and tick the boxes.
Right.
And
more of a tick mark activity.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were really not learning and evolving as individuals.
Right.
That was one. And the second experience of mine was that no matter how many classroom learnings initiatives that we ran, it was just a feel-good factor.
Yes.
So after that, they forgot about it. And that was the time when I felt that coaching was the best way to teach people. In fact, coaching is nothing but teaching. In fact, coaching is inspiring people to find answers from within themselves.
Wow.
And that is the learning that stays with people.
Lovely.
So I'll give you a small example, Manmeet, that whenever something comes from within us, that is something which is a revelation or which is a breakthrough moment, and that stays with us. So our job as a coach is to create those breakthrough moments for our people so that they stay with that learning, and thereafter they never need any more learnings after that. So that is what got me into coaching.
Lovely.
And to your second question, that what got me into writing a book. So in my career, Manmeet, I made a number of mistakes when I look back. Without any hesitation, I think I would like to admit that I made a number of mistakes, which I feel that learning from mistakes is a very expensive and a very time-consuming journey. So I thought I must write my own experiences as to where you can make a mistake for the younger generation so that they can learn from it and they may not make the same mistakes. And that is what the purpose of writing this book was.
Wow, lovely. And I remember there was this one point in time during one of the group coaching sessions that I had the privilege to attend. Invincible Me was the name of the show. And you had mentioned clearly that, it was Hindi medium that you had earlier studied in, and you transitioned and you speak so fluently. For all the youngsters out there, I'm sure there's so much to learn how to sort of break those shackles and the background that you come from and how to be where you are today.
Oh, that really reminded me, Manmeet, and I must speak a little bit in Hindi because I'm as fluent in Hindi as I am in English.
Lovely.
Because मुझे याद है कि जब मैंने स्कूल पास आउट किया तो I was one of the toppers in the Delhi board.
Lovely.
Okay, but when I went to Lady Shri Ram College for an interview, तो मुझे बहुत hesitation थी कि इतना मतलब टॉप क्लास कॉलेज है तो वहाँ पर मैं इंग्लिश में इंटरव्यू कैसे दूंगी. I was very hesitant, and when we were standing in the line for the interview, I remember मेरी elder sister मुझे लेकर गई अपने साथ, and she was all through the time coaching me how to speak in English.
Oh.
So this is my journey, and that reminds me. But well, anyways, that's a long story cut short. That this is how my experience with Hindi versus English has been.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. So the next question that I have for you is the fact that what was the most unexpected leadership challenge you found, and how did you navigate through the journey?
Well, one of the most unexpected things was when in one of the organizations that I was working in, they had to shut a plant.
Oh.
And as a management trainee, I was asked to go there and ask the people, 160 people, to leave the organization. And that is something that I had never done before. And my boss told me that you've got to do this. Now I went there and I was completely unaware of what I will be doing. But then I thought, my instincts told me that be honest, and there is no alternative to being honest with
Absolutely.
people. So I called all of them and I explained all the challenges that the company was having and the reasons for which we were having to do what we had to do, knowing very well that it may not be taken very well by the people.
True.
But I decided to be honest and transparent with people, and to my surprise, people accepted it. And I must tell you that all of them have been friends with me till now.
Wow, that's
So
lovely.
that is how
wonderful it is.
I felt that being connected to people you can win over any challenge.
Indeed. So in fact, Dale Carnegie, or I'm not sure who the author was, has written a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Absolutely.
So that is, you're a complete example of that. Lovely.
Thank you.
So now going on to the next segment, This is on career and leadership journey. This is on leadership and people strategy. The next question that I have for you is, how has leadership evolved in today's corporate world, and what do leaders need to unlearn?
Well, I think, yes, you said it right, Manmeet, that leadership has evolved manyfold and evolved in a very different direction today, many of them which we did not anticipate. Today, first it started with the digital, and now we are moving towards AI. So, first of all, leaders need to not be afraid of artificial intelligence. We need to embrace it and see how it can be useful for humans.
Right.
Instead of, you remember those times when the computer evolution was starting,
right,
and people were starting to feel scared of computers, that they will lose many jobs and all that stuff, but that didn't happen.
Right.
So people need to embrace AI. That's number one, that leadership behavior needs to change. And the other thing is that in the world of AI,
right,
I think there is a greater need for human skills to be built
True.
and to be nurtured further.
Absolutely.
Because I think AI will be able to do everything but not develop the emotional quotient.
Absolutely. And that's where, people who can leverage AI can do much better, but then those who still have got those instincts, the raw emotions, they would always thrive in any environment.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Lovely.
In fact, one of the hiring, talent management reports recently said that, in the days to come, the maximum skills that will be needed in the job world will be the skills of emotional quotient and emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that's
so I think that is something we need to build in our people. Absolutely.
True. And when we were there, especially when I was there early on in my career, I used to think, why would we do such training? But now I do realize what's the importance of that.
Absolutely.
Lovely. So now let's move on to the next question. What are the biggest blind spots leaders have when it comes to managing talent?
Well, at one point in time, even I had that one blind spot, I must admit that. So the blind spots that most leaders have is that leaders must have all the answers.
Right.
And leaders cannot be vulnerable. Earlier on in my career, I used to think that it is a weakness to be vulnerable.
Right.
But over a period of time, I realized that being vulnerable is a huge strength.
True.
And people welcome you, people respect you a lot more if you are vulnerable with them.
Yeah.
And in today's world, Manmeet, when the world is evolving at such a fast pace, I mean, nobody needs to have all answers.
True.
It's the way you inspire people, it's the way you develop people, and it's the way you are genuinely interested in the well-being of people, which is the key to being a leader.
True.
So I think this is what I feel, that leaders don't need to have all the answers.
Very true, Anjali. How nicely put. Now moving on to the next question. How can organizations build a culture of trust and psychological safety? Because in today's day and age, when you have this 70-hour, 90-hour debate, which is so very well prevalent, it's tough for people to and you have organizations which are top brands and part of Big Four, where you have people burning out and succumbing to pressure. So how do you build that psychological safety and trust?
Good question, Manmeet. And I think building a level of trust in people is key to build the culture. Now, what we do today in the name of culture building and in the name of employee welfare, I think that's an apology.
Right.
Because culture is not built by rolling out some initiatives.
True.
Or celebrating birthdays.
Absolutely not.
And celebrating different festivals, etc.
Far from it. Yeah,
so I think the leaders need to build trust in their teams. And how can trust be built? It's ironical that over a period of time, our corporations have majorly spent a lot of investment in terms of doing soft skills training.
True.
And in terms of teaching them how to persuade people, in teaching them how to do those scripted jargons. But you know what? Those are a set of tools. Those really don't work with people.
True.
Guys, people are not tools. People are not objects. So we need to use something which is absolutely genuine, and people get inspired by leaders who can walk the talk.
Absolutely.
So I think if we build more and more leaders who can walk the talk,
correct,
they can inspire people, and then thereby, what will happen is that the leaders will be able to influence their team members without even saying a single word. It's going to be silence influencing.
True.
And once you are able to influence people, that will create a level of discretionary effort.
Wow.
That means you don't have to ask people to stretch themselves.
True.
You don't have to ask people to deliver on the deadlines. You will get it by themselves.
Absolutely.
So it is that kind of an environment we need to create to build the great cultures in the organization.
Making them the catalysts themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Now let's move on to the next segment, which is going to be on career growth and coaching insights. So the next question that I have for you, Anjali, is what's the most common career mistake professionals make, and how can they avoid it?
So the most common career growth that people make, career mistake that people make is looking at a very short-term kind of a span of time. Like for example, people get motivated by a promotion from a manager to a senior manager.
Right.
Whereas the promotion is only a cosmetic promotion because nothing changes but a little bit of a salary increase or maybe a job title.
Right.
They should invest in long-term growth, which means that even if your level doesn't go up, you should be learning more skills. So I call it a horizontal growth as against a vertical growth.
True.
This is a mindset change, particularly I think in the Indian context, that people need to make so that, when they look at their resume after 5 years of working in an organization, they would feel that, when I joined this organization, I knew a set of 3 skills.
Correct.
But 5 years later, I know 10 skills.
Absolutely.
And that is the growth in the true sense of the word.
Right.
So that is what I feel that the mistake that most career mistakes are made. And that is something that they need to stay away from. So
true. And, I can completely resonate with it. Having traversed through my corporate journey in the last 23 years of my corporate life, at every little stage, it's a continuous process. You continuously learn and evolve as an individual.
Sure.
So the next question that I have for you is, and are you ready for it?
Yes, of course.
This is going to be interesting because I'm really eager to know the answer. What do you coach executives to move from, or rather, how do you coach executives to move from good to great leaders?
It's a very, very simple journey, Manmeet. From good to great is a journey from head to heart.
Right.
It's a journey for knowing themselves better, who you are and what's the purpose of your life.
True.
And that is the only difference. So the journey from being good to great is just half a meter. That is from head to your heart.
Wow. Lovely. Well put. The next question that I have for you is, what role does emotional intelligence play in leadership success?
Huge role. As I mentioned before also, Manmeet, that in today's day and age, it is only the high level of EQ that can get you success as a leader.
True.
And, I once heard long time back, and one of the organizations that I worked in, one of my bosses very nicely put it is that leader is he who has followers.
Right.
If you don't have followers, you're not a leader.
Absolutely.
And what can win you followers?
Yes.
It's your connect with the people.
Yeah, and how you make them feel. Very true.
Yeah.
Wow, lovely. So the next segment is writing and thought leadership. Now you've been to various seminars and various conferences as well, and you've won a lot of awards. In fact, we were thinking of displaying a whole plethora of awards that you've won. Unfortunately, we've fallen short of place. But tell me something which stands out. Your book actually dives into the topic which is career misadventures. Very interesting topic that you've chosen, and you authored this book. So what's one insight that surprised even you?
Yes, when I was writing my book, there was one great insight that I myself had while writing, and I discovered it for the first time myself, is that leaders should not shy away from being vulnerable. And that is something that I've practiced ever since I've written my book. And I always wish this insight had come to me much earlier.
Lovely.
But no regrets, having said that.
Any example that you can quote from your own personal life?
Yeah, I think I can quote many examples, but one of the key was that when I went as I mentioned, my incident about having to shut down a plant and having 160 people to go,
tough.
I had some answers, but I did not have many answers.
True.
And at that time, I was trying to find answers, or I was feeling a little shy of standing out there as an HR leader and saying that I don't know. But I wish I had been honest at that time and said that I'm sorry, this is what I know and this is what I do know.
Absolutely. In fact, that's what most of us do when we have no sort of answer, or, when we know at the heart of it, we're doing the wrong thing, but then somehow for the organization, we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, because, people are smart and people can see through.
Absolutely.
So it's best not to be dishonest with people.
True. Absolutely. The next question is, how can professionals build a strong personal brand while staying authentic? And you've built one yourself, and countless of individuals out there, especially the youngsters. You need to learn from Dr. Anjali how she has built this powerful brand of being a TEDx speaker, and also of being a coach, and also being an author. All yours.
Manmeet, I think we can build a personal brand by only doing one thing in our career life. That is, not expecting what organizations can do for me, but thinking about what I can do for the organization and going beyond the job description, so to say. I've seen many individuals who, if you tell them a particular task or you put them in a different team, they say, well, ma'am, this was not written in my job description. Well, think about it, that don't think what organizations will do for you, but think about what I can contribute, and then sky will be the limit for you.
True. Can you quote another example from your journey?
I remember, in fact, I made that mistake myself, that I remember
You're being
once,
very modest here.
No, we all learn from our mistakes.
Absolutely.
And there is no downside to being vulnerable.
Yes.
So I remember once in one of my career stints, I was asked to go into operations for a span of about 3 months to learn the operations bit so that I could do better kind of hiring. And at that time, being the immature myself that I was, I thought, no, I don't think I need to do that. My core is HR and I need to stay here. So when I look back today, maybe there was some hidden good in that, and I would have learned a lot from operations as well.
Wow. Okay, the next question that I have in the segment is, what's one piece of career advice that has stood out the test of time for you?
I think something that has stood the test of times is that I believe in it and I live by it, is build relationships before you need them. So you should not build relationships just when you need them and you pick up a phone and after 6 years you're calling up somebody and saying that, I need this from you. Well, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And you should not even build relationships in the hope that one day this person will help me. No.
Absolutely not.
There has to be an absolutely non-contaminated, non-selfless kind of a connect with people that you need to build.
And so to be more genuine.
Very, very genuine. Absolutely. So that is something that has stood the test of time always.
Wow, lovely. I can resonate with so many things that you're talking about. And I think, for those who can make some shots from this video, they will have golden nuggets all throughout this podcast. In fact, the old podcast is all about golden nuggets. So all you people out there must listen to this with a lot of fervor and with a lot of attention. I'm sure you'll do well. And we will certainly put up the link to this book that you can buy from the site. I highly, truly recommend this. In fact, I'm privileged and honored to have, to be receiving this book and an autographed copy of this book. So if you want to really change your career and traverse through the difficult times, you must go ahead and purchase this book. Okay, now the last segment is about the future of work and leadership. So the next question that I have for you is, what leadership skills will be non-negotiable in the next decade?
Well, I think I've talked enough about it, but I think in the next decade it will be becoming even more important that every leader needs to build emotional quotient and genuine connect with people, because that is something that your machines will never be able to do.
True.
In fact, I remember the other day I was just giving some voice commands to my television, and at some point in time I got an answer back that I am completely overwhelmed at this moment. That is something that humans will not tell you.
Lovely.
And so there is only so much that AI can do.
Absolutely.
And they will never be able to replace humans. So guys, one message through this podcast that I would like to give is that don't be wary of AI.
Very true.
It is there to help us. It is there to make our lives better. But building and evolving your human skills is the key to success in the times to come.
Wonderful. How wonderfully put. How should leaders put, prepare the AI-driven workplace of the future? And what do you think AI is? Is it a curse or a tool?
I think it's a wonderful tool. We need to just learn how to use it to the best advantage. You would remember those days, I remember those days when we used to work on typewriters, right, and there were no computers. And when the computers were coming, people used to be fearful about, when computer comes, so many jobs would be lost and all that stuff. But all it brought was efficiency to us.
Same was with the case with calculators.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think there is no need to be scared of AI. Yeah. We just need to be innovative enough to see how it can be used by us to our advantage.
Absolutely. Wonderful. How well put. Now, the final question that I have for you in this segment is, if you could rewrite one leadership role, what would it be and why?
Well, yes, if I could rewrite one leadership rule, I would rewrite that leaders must have all the answers.
Right.
It's not necessary for leaders to have all the answers, but it is very necessary for leaders to walk the talk and to be able to inspire their teams and the people around us.
Right. Great, wonderful. So, moving on to our next segment and the final segment, this is going to be the rapid fire round. So, are you ready for it, Dr. Anjali?
Okay,
I am certainly going to put you onto a spot, and this is
I think you were
the
Unscripted. And I'm ready for it.
Yes, wow, lovely. So, ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to say a word, and whatever word comes to your mind, first instance, go ahead and say.
Sure.
Favorite CEO?
Masood Malik.
Wow. Lovely company to work for?
Coca-Cola.
Wow. Favorite car?
Innova Crista.
Innova Crista, great. Best AI reply that you ever got?
From my television that the AI is overwhelmed.
That's a good one. Any bloopers that you experienced while writing the book?
Not really.
Not really? Okay, great. Wonderful. You have two beautiful, wonderful sons. So do you think they are your best friends?
Absolutely. I couldn't have gotten any more best friends.
Do you learn from them as well?
Absolutely. In fact, they tell me that you don't know anything. So I keep on learning from them all the time.
Lovely. And what's your childhood dream?
Well, as a child, I wanted to grow up and sell flowers and cakes.
Wow, lovely. Did you ever think that you would be such a successful author, a TEDx speaker, and so many other things? A career coach, a life coach?
Not really. To be honest, Manmeet, I never thought about it, but I just walked one step at a time.
Wow.
And
that's very important for all you youngsters out there. Take it one step at a time, step by step, ooh baby.
Yeah, so I just walked one step at a time and kept on embracing life, whatever it threw at me. And acceptance is the key. I think I accepted life the way it came to me.
Okay, so now the next question that I have for you is, how can someone reach out to you to take some advice on career?
Well, I am very constant on LinkedIn. I write posts every day on LinkedIn.
Lovely.
Plus, I also do career coaching for the benefit of mid and senior level management people, and especially for those people who feel stuck in their life, in their careers. at the moment that they want to grow forward in their leadership journey, but they are not able to. So, for example, every appraisal or every performance review time, their boss tells him that, hey, listen, तुझमें leadership skills नहीं है. But then, nobody is there to tell him what
Very
to
true.
do and how to do it.
Absolutely.
So I help those people fast forward their journey.
Lovely.
And they can connect with me by going to my LinkedIn profile and send me a DM, and I would reach out to them myself. And that is the way to connect with me, and I look forward to that.
Wonderful. So what would you recommend to a 21-year-old Anjali Ahuja?
Don't take life so seriously.
You still look 21, by the way.
Oh my God. Thank you, Manu.
Lovely.
Compliment.
So, and the final question that I have for you is, what do you want to recommend to the youngsters out there, things that they should and they should not?
Well, I recently worked a lot with some of the university students who I was coaching, and I was also teaching them some business ethics and all of that. And I think what I would recommend to them is that do not be in a hurry to be the CEO. There are no shortcuts in life.
Right.
I hear from so many young students, like MBA students and all. So, they used to ask me a question, ma'am, how many years will it take for me to be the CEO of the company?
Yeah.
So that was the question they used to ask me. So then, to all such people, I would like to say that, guys, there are no shortcuts in life.
True.
So look at how you can contribute, and the rest will happen on its own.
Absolutely.
So because what you give is what you get.
Very true. Dr. Anjali Ahuja, it has been a pleasure hosting you in this podcast, and there's so many golden nuggets that you have given us. Thank you so much for your time, and I would love to have you as part of 2.0 whenever we have the second season of the podcast series. And certainly you will be one of the esteemed guests and in the Hall of Fame. And I would love you to autograph a book, and I would keep that in my Hall of Fame as a prized possession, and recommend everyone of you out there that, guys, this is the book that you need to order. I'll put the link in the description. It's called Career Misadventures by Dr. Anjali Ahuja. There is no other author who has spent so much of time and effort in not just writing the book, but also designing the cover. She did it all by herself. Yeah. And what's more important is she has really gone ahead and given her lifelong nuggets over here. So go ahead and order this, guys. And if you would be kind enough to sign this for me, I'll be more than happy to keep this in my Hall of Fame as one of my prized possessions.
Absolutely, Manmeet. Anytime, anything for you. And thank you very much for having me on your show. And it's been totally a pleasure. And wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. There we go.
Thank you.
That's a pen. You can do the formalities. Love to have your autograph. You've got a wonderful handwriting as well. And for all you youngsters out there, my YouTube channel is called Meet the Man Podcast. So it's called meet.the.man.podcast. And I will also put up the description. Please like, subscribe, and share. And also, this will be put up on LinkedIn and very soon on Spotify as well. Thank you so much.
Here you go, Manmeet.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anjali.
Happy reading the book.
Thank you so much. I would certainly treasure this for the rest of my life. And thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart for being part of this wonderful podcast.
And for watching this. Thanks,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.